This episode is brought to you by Lone Wolf Paintball. They are an amazing online supplier and have been around since the beginning of the game as Michigan's premier paintball field and paintball supplier since 1987. They are rapidly expanding into the online retail space and supplying everything you need to be the best paintball player you can be. They have got it all. Head over to lonewolfpaintball.com and shop all of your favorite brands. And they also boast amazing customer service and will have this out to you with same-day shipping, which is amazing. It's always nice to know that your stuff is on its way immediately so you can start to use it that very next weekend of play. Check out their YouTube, Lone Wolf Paintball, and their Instagram at Lone Wolf PB, and stay up to date with all of their deals and sales. Play the Game podcast is immensely honored to have them on board, and we cannot wait for you guys to check out lonewolfpaintball.com and become a part of their community.
What's going on, PTG Nation? Welcome back on this beautiful Monday morning. We got another great episode for you guys here with none other than Mike Hinman, owner of the WCPPL, USXBL, and the head coach / owner of Los Angeles Collision. I'm not sure if he's the head coach, actually. He's like he is the head coach. You know, he might have some other coaches underneath him, but he's like the main guy in charge over there. So without further ado, we're going to hop in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication. And the crowd starts chanting Harmon. Great shot by all the guys. So Tyler Harmon saved that game. He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
What up, squad? We hope you're doing great out there. Welcome back to PTG. This is episode number 330. Man, we're building over here at PTG, and we have got the man who's not just playing the game, he's shaping the game, league owner, pro coach, the rule influencer, and the mind behind LA Collision. Mike Hinman's in the building. Welcome, Mike. Hope you're doing great, man.
Let's go.
Glad to be back, boys.
Yeah, baby. Glad to have you back. Let's go.
Yeah, we have an exciting couple weeks coming up. We got WCPPL, first NXL event. You guys were just out in Florida for the USXBL. We were talking backstage before we went live. I just got back from Florida last night. The field looks amazing. Those tents that you left out there really make the place look like you're walking around a professional venue. You know, it's pretty awesome. Got to be excited.
We're glad to be out there. We were really surprised with, all of us that have been playing for a long time have spent a lot of time at Central Florida paintball, right? Like, I feel it's like SC Village. It's one of the most, respected. A lot of skin's been left on that field out there. You know what I mean? And, we World Cup, Tracy and I were down there taking a look at it, and his turf fields looked really great. And he was going to put a third one in. And right before the event, they got the third one in. And I think it's probably 3 of the cleanest turf fields you'll ever play on, right? For fields that have 3 pads, one of the cleanest places we've ever been. The field I think you guys play on, Marcelo, I was walking on it, looking at it we're like, well, somebody's definitely played on this field before, but it was spotless.
They do a great job. They clean it after every day.
Yeah. Everybody out there, Jason, Tom Fox, all the staff there, the Legacy Factory guys, they all put a ton of effort into making that place look pristine for our event. So we're super thankful. It's, an interesting, byproduct of running all these regional events that you never really think of is same for you guys, right? You get to work with, for us, we get to work with some of the greatest fields that there are anywhere in the world. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's a really cool side bit that, you don't really ever think of it walking in the door, in Texas, we're X Factor, Giant, Fit, right? Florida, we're down there at Legacy, SC back here, and we've gotten to work with so many other really top level, if you were to build the top 10 fields or list them, we've gotten to work with a lot of them. So it's definitely really cool to see, right? Because we all rack our brains on how we can try to grow this sport, right? And I think there's a lot of energy being put into it. But then you get down, I think, to the field level of it. You see fields like that are putting a lot of effort in. And I think Florida's got a lot of fields in general, right? It's not a, tough place to start a new business. California is very not favorable. I don't think there'll be any new fields in California anytime soon. It's just so difficult to get one off the ground. Florida, Texas, places like that definitely have a lot of growth happening with fields, right? Because the more fields we get, the more airball fields we get, the more people inevitably will cross over and, start possibly playing it. So definitely cool to see.
That's where it all starts, man. That we've got to make sure that the local level is as strong as ever. And I know that's something that you're highly focused on, and we all appreciate that, because everyone that plays your events, they have a great time. The chemistry, the energy, the tournament, the way it's ran, it's really professional grade. And yes, Legacy is iconic, absolutely legendary field. I remember playing on Tampa years ago, practicing out there, and like you said, leaving a lot of skin on the field out there and just having a good time.
It was crazy. Like when Jason and them started putting in their turf fields, right? Because that's got that like soft white Florida sand, like that is everywhere in that state. And there were so many stakes buried down in those grass fields. I remember a picture like Jason and them posted when they took the place over, I believe from John Smith and them, the original Central owners, of like 100 and some spikes they drug out of the ground because they were going over like metal detectors, finding all the nails down in there. Which is the end of many people's careers. If you take one of those stakes wrong, it'll rip your knee apart or your leg apart. So it was really cool to see, where it was to where it is to where they're going with it. So definitely, there's a lot of there's a lot of uncertainty right now, right? Like in our whole world, our economy's rough, and then you get to places like that where there's money being pumped into it, or like another one, Billy Stransky, head of Core, took over the giant Texas place, and they're making a big push. I know HK is making a big push on like glow ball, and you're seeing a lot of like talking with Billy, right? Like I'm lucky we were teammates, friends. I do business with them, and they just did a big cord out there, and hearing some of the analytics of what fields are investing into like the glow ball or whatever, and the ROI return on investment. That is like, Billy has it all laid out. Like they're really making money out there at a field, right? And they're also, the numbers say that Dallas Metroplex, there's a couple fields around there, right? Not just Fit and Giant are on the opposite sides of it. There's other smaller fields, and those smaller fields actually, with Billy or Fit or whoever doing better and better, it's not actually taking away from the other fields by putting marketing money into this industry. It's actually a rising tide that lifts all ships. So that's interesting analytics as we continue to go through this, right? Because we can talk about all the different ways we can try to get paintball on TV or whatever it is, but knowing that if you actually invest in like, Facebook and Instagram marketing and stuff like that, we're able to actually target our demographic for this sport. So definitely interesting times, right?
Yeah, it's crazy right now. And honestly, you're probably the paintball field connoisseur. You've seen them all. You understand exactly what it takes to run a top tier business, and the glow ball has been a great ROI for a lot of fields. It's bringing in new faces. People are excited to check it out. And I think that, obviously anytime you can have your doors open longer and provide a cool experience, you're going to make more money. So it's really awesome to see that. We were actually just at Capitol Edge this weekend. I'm sure you guys saw, ripping around some glow ball, having fun. And that was my first time ever playing it. And the experience was like, it was a thrill. I was thrilled. It felt like I was a kid again, like playing paintball for the first time, running around out there. Dalton's being a maniac. We're having fun. The guys are running around on the hyperball field, and we have the airball field lit up and the hyperball, but it's just a really, really cool experience. Dalton had a tinted lens though, so he couldn't see very much. He was like, I would see the back of a loader and it was lit up, and I would know that was my teammate. And like, he's like, I don't know where they at.
Hilarious.
You definitely need the single pane clears to get through there.
Yeah, it's crazy. Actually, it was wild. Some of the lenses were glowing, some of them weren't. I was rocking the RMX, the new HK goggle, and it was crystal clear with those goggles. So I was having a lot of fun. I could it was like this whole new fresh experience on the game. And I actually was thinking maybe, it's too dark to play a tournament in, obviously. But if you had that bright, white, crispy light over the top with the glow, and you put those two together, I think you could have a really entertaining, like optically show to put on.
Well, the number one thing, even at like the pro level is we're using a pink shell so we can track the paint better. That glow paint, like even the first time, we got the lights up at SC and we're out there one night with one of the guns pumping some paint, and you're like, man, this really is. I think it's, the electric hopper, the electric gun, the compressed air system. Yeah, I think the glow ball is really in line with that as far as big deal for our industry, right? Like, because it really, there's something about that even when we run the glow ball nights at our SC Village location, the people that show up, it's not all the tournament guys. There's a lot of the walk-ons that are crossing over. And for us, we used a scoreboard, the buzzer system, the same thing we would use at a WC or an NXL. So people kind of got indoctrinated into using the same system that we're all using. And it was a really cool experience. People are out coaching, yelling again. Not really tournament paintball how we play it, but still played on the same. And
a taste of it.
Introduce more people over to this side.
Love it.
Fit's doing a great job. They've got that hard point. I think Dynasty just did an exhibition with them.
Yeah.
This last week, which is another cool thing that they're doing. So I definitely think there's some gritty movement happening in our industry to try to get things to a better place. And I'm always excited to see that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, like Tyler said, it's a way for fields to, keep their doors open longer and, double revenue almost. And it's a whole nother demographic that I think we can capture, because it does definitely play a little more to the gamers, kids. It's something that if you see on social media, it is aesthetically appealing. It catches your eye. You're like, whoa, what is that? That's very futuristic. It's like Tron in real life,
Absolutely.
All the videos I've seen, it does look incredible. And I do agree with Tyler too, that doing it in the daytime with the lights, it might help, track the paint a little bit better. And, it's obviously not going to have the same effect as night ball, or glow ball at night, but I think it still will illuminate the ball a lot better, which obviously has been one of the biggest hurdles in our game for a long time as far as, capturing it.
The yellow.
I think another one is making sure when you do them, like if it's a full moon, like as odd as that sounds, when there's some ambient white that comes in. I know Fit, like our second set of white lights we bought for SC, there's a dimmer switch where you can actually turn their white lights down to like 10 or 20% with the black light still coming in. So then it completely lights the field up. Like you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then with the yellow ball, if you have, obviously we're shooting the pink ball, and I love the verbiage they put in the new rules for the Major League Paintball. It says obviously pink shell, yellow fill, but we can change the paint whenever we want. So I'm hoping that they're gonna change to a yellow ball. Just looks really nice. And then maybe someday we have the glow over the top with that yellow ball, and it's just popping. You can see all the lanes. Everybody can see the action.
Yeah, it's definitely another cool thing we all have going.
Yeah, for sure. You've been on a mission, man. You just drove across the whole country. Tell us about that. Well,
like Marcel is out there. We use those big, like the NXL does, the big 20 by 20 white tents, right? For pit tents, staging tents, so on. So for us, we moved 2 trucks out to Florida. Just one, we don't have Class A licenses, right? So on our normal, we can only have so much weight in our trucks. And Tracy and I muscled out there, 3-day drive out to Florida, and then ran USXBL. It was a really smooth event for us. And then Monday, 1:00, got back on the road. And our daughter's birthday, as you can tell by the Hello Kitty balloon here over the family portrait, was on Wednesday. So we had
happy
2
birthday.
days. Thank you. 2 days and 4 hours to get back, which is about a 2,500 mile drive.
Bro. Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Tracy's a real one.
Life a little bit.
That's a road dog
stretch. Like waking up in New Mexico and knowing you're going to get through all of Arizona, the last day, you're just like, man,
cooked.
It's pretty brutal. So
that's a lot of sitting. Yeah, that's a lot of. Flying for 6 hours hurts. So
sitting in a car for 40 some hours, getting bounced down the road, like you
dedication.
Definitely feel it. It's a wild time, but I think everybody, if you ever have the time, should drive across the country, see this place. It's pretty amazing, right? Like it's a cool journey to go through, right? Texas into the swampland, through the South, down into old Florida, what I mean? So it was a good time. Everybody's like, man, I don't know how you do it. It's just a job, right? Like if that's what you're doing is running paintball events, then it's just another job, right? You got to bring, you could ship the stuff. Everybody's like, pay somebody. Like, man, I grew up
good
as a kid to pay somebody to do a job. Like, how much am I going to pay them? I'll just pay me to do that job.
Yeah.
So, but no, it was a good time. We come back, WC's this week, set up crews out there right now. We were working all last night, get SC ripped down, put back up for the tournament. So we're working on that now. Then next week we have NXL layout. I think we run that at SC. And then Monday morning, Tracy and I will leave the week of Tampa, drive back to Dallas, drop all of our gear at Fit, because the week after NXL is USXBL Texas. So we won't even come home from that one. We'll just stay in Tampa head to Dallas, maybe take a day off around town, and then get back to another tournament. So it'll be a busy one for us.
Let's talk about dedication. Let's just talk about dedication real quick. I mean, if you don't see the type of heart and passion that this guy has for this game and truly growing it across our country, which is pretty spectacular, Mike, you've got one of the most successful paintball leagues ever built, you know, and it's through grit and hard work and community. And it's really cool to see all the progressions that you've made, man.
Yeah, man, this is our 18th year of doing it, right? So for me, I think when we were all younger, especially West Coast guys, right? Like we all looked at what was it? Sean Walker's league, XPSL. I'm sorry.
XPSL. Yeah.
And we would look at those events and be like, man, there's 140 teams here paying $1,000 or $1,200. And you're like, if we win first place, you get like 2 Bushmasters, 3 barrels, and 4, gun oils. And you're like, and a couple paintball junkie jerseys. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, man, it could be so much better than this. And when we got the chance to do it, we've tried. But also, I'll tell everybody, I think Tom and them catch a lot of hammers at the NXL. And it's like, when you run a league, you understand, like, even if you think you know their numbers, like, there's so much money that goes out running events, the crew, staff. It's a lot of money, right? And Tom and them are doing it, going Dover and going to Tampa and all the things that they're doing. It's just not a cheap business to run, which is why I think so many leagues have come and gone, because it's a passion project for all of us. But when you're pouring in money and you're not seeing money in return, the industry doesn't have a ton of money, becomes a little more difficult.
Yeah. I also feel like you've done an amazing job of building a culture within the WCPPL. And I think that's the difference between a lot of successful businesses and unsuccessful businesses. Obviously we've been coming to the WCs for a long time, and you see the same faces over and over. You see new faces come in as well each year, but it seems like the majority of the players feel almost as if they're part of the WCPPL, if that makes sense. You really
Absolutely.
do, and I think some of that is you include them in a lot of polls, you interact with a lot of them, you want the feedback, and you make changes based on feedback, not always, as no business owner should. But I think that makes a huge difference. And it's one of the reasons you have a very loyal customer base. You really try to do the best to provide for the players, for the customer, which is massive, especially for a regional league.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I mean, I think you can never forget where you came from, right? And no matter who I ever am, like as life keeps giving me another day after another day to keep running the game here, you can't forget being the player that, when I was a kid, I didn't have money like that. I was just another face in the crowd, right? The 1,000+ faces or whatever it is. You can never forget being that guy, I think. And if you do, there are customers. Like, how do we not have a conversation and talk to them, right? And again, there's times like divisional guys will make a decision, like the limited paint thing. People are really like, yeah, man, let's do limited paint. But then as we go forward with it, you get a slower layout. They may not like that as much, right? So yes, there's times where you can't give every decision away, right?
Agreed.
Because there's also numbers, guys would love us to give $100,000 at every tournament and charge $3 for entry.
I'd vote for that as a player.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think just never forgetting, right? Like you rise to some level of power, I guess you would call it. You can't let that get to your head. You got to stay humble and kind. And, it's competitive. The tough part for paintball tournaments is, you have however many divisions, there's only that many winners per event. So there's a lot of people that don't win that think they're going to win. And that comes with the competitive spirit we all have. So that becomes tough as a promoter, right? Because there's always somebody upset about a call that gets made. But yeah, man, I think just being a good person to people tends to help, you know what I mean? And understanding
goes a long way.
Side of the coin.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Mike. Are there any new things that the customers can expect from WCPPL this year? You guys have anything?
We bought all new scoreboards this year. Oldest, which is the guy who does the older scoreboards. They have the new LED boards, kind of like they use on the pro field and semi-pro field. They made them a little bit smaller, but simple things like team logos can be loaded on them for, same with the pro field, the Impact logo or the Damage logo, stuff like that.
That's awesome.
I mean, obviously every year there's new bunkers. We have new sponsors, WCPL, we've brought on, Defy, OTL, Violence, JT, Maxed, Carbon. We have the paintball gun company, he's the event too in Florida. A lot of companies have jumped on with us, so there'll be different looks around the event. But I mean, it's normal. The layout's going to be crazy. Like
can't wait to see it.
I think it's
everyone
the top 3 wildest layout that anybody that we've ever put out.
There we go.
Anybody or you guys?
Anybody.
Oh wow. Okay. Now I'm
the snake side's going to be, there's no straight beams on that snake. It's all angled entries. It's going to be pretty wild.
Okay. Okay. Very, very excited to see it.
I think when the new layout comes out, right? Like next Wednesday, we're all going to be waiting for that NXL layout to drop. And you keep hitting refresh, and then that thing finally drops, right? And when I got this layout together, you're looking at it and you kind of sit back, like just taste it for a second. Get like, how do you feel about how that looks? And the only word I could come up with, chaos. Like chaos, pure chaos. Like I think. It's tough too, because then like there's some snake beams on both sides of the field, right? And we're at SC this weekend, and the collision guys are like, let's change this layout out. And I know in the back of my mind what the new layout looks like, and there's snake beams on both sides of the field. And they took all the snake beams off the Dorito side of the field. And I'm like, yeah, it's a great idea, man. The whole time, like, suckers.
Yeah.
Not a good look. Not a good look.
It's funny.
You have the new bunker as well out there, I'm sure.
Yeah. We have since the week after World Cup. We're quick to get the star. I think we're all calling it the starfish these days. So
yeah, the screwdriver. That thing's about to go crazy.
I love the new bunker.
It's a good piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we either add more of the same pieces that we already have, right? Like you add, 4 more, whatever, temples or Doritos or whatever, or you come up with a new piece. I think anytime, Sup Air, Tom, Jason, all them come up with a new piece, there's always a negative voice that's going to say, I don't like that, or it sucks or whatever. But it's the same with like the NXL layouts that people drop and people are like, oh, this is the worst layout ever. And then a week later, after we're playing the tournament, they're like, that was the funnest one we've ever played. Like,
I got to give some love to Jason for the bunker, but you for the layout. Cause in Florida, they still had the USXBL layout up, and where you placed the starfish on the snake side, I played it. I don't know. We played 52 points on Saturday, like 40 points on Sunday. We played a lot of points. And so I was in that thing a ton, and it was so much fun that I had to text Jason. I'm like, okay, the new bunker is pretty fun. A lot of creativity in there. You can especially in low body situations, you can really trick people going to the inside, playing a spot that like you really shouldn't play, but you definitely can. I can see players like Malloy getting really crafty in there. We talked about this before the show too. It's going to depend on, as long as it's not like in the corner or the back center, there's a lot of opportunity with that bunker.
Absolutely. I think for us, we've tried a lot of things at SC Village in the off season, and you're like, man, the further back you put them, the field could get slower, right? Like, I'm not saying it's a guaranteed, it just could get slower. Also, I want to save the highlight reels of people just getting their scalps blown off because somebody jumps over the top of that thing, like Tyler over here standing at 7 foot 3 inches tall, just scalping people in that thing. You know what I mean? So I do think if they're up, 35 to 50 yard line, definitely makes it kind of like the USXBL layout.
Right.
That was kind of a 3-dimensional snake in there where you could go to the outside where the starfish was or to the inside where the ladder snake was.
It was a fun field.
It was multiple paths of aggression on that field and a lot of counters.
Yeah, we were playing that field this weekend too. It was a lot of fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, it was really balanced.
Another cool one for us. Like when you're flipping through social media and there's fields that you really don't know where they're at, so you click on it and you start piecing together, and you're like, oh, that field's in upstate New York or wherever, and you see the layouts out. That's also another feather in the cap where you're like, man, pretty cool, right? And then random friends that we all have will reach out and be like, man, that layout, or like Marcelo at the events, will come to me and be like, man, this feels really balanced, or Spica, that have very deep minds on how to play a field. That's always cool to catch the compliment from them. You know what I mean? Like, you want to make fun fields, but when they're a blind layout, like, man, you truly don't. And we really can't set pieces of it up to see how it plays because it would be an unfair advantage. So you're truly going off of a blind idea and walking it 3D on guns up, trying to understand. But the tough part becomes with divisional guys, especially, you have an idea of how this thing's going to play, and then they play it completely different. You're like, and I'm sure it was like Trozen in Texas, where he's like, yeah, that mini W snake side definitely had a huge shot back through the Dorito side. and could absolutely slow everybody down. In hindsight, it becomes really obvious, but when you're making a layout that nobody's played, you kind of a little bit tougher, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Are you cooking these up yourself, Mike? What does that look like? The thought process behind making all these?
Yeah, Thomas has helped. Taylor has helped before with like especially the East Coast. The West Coast becomes a little tougher with Thomas's son playing in it, right? Like,
yeah.
So this layout that we have for WC, you could say there's some similarities to the Florida one, but I'm sure when people see it, they're going to understand it's completely different. Like,
because it's a tough task to continuously every tournament create something that is going to satisfy the public and make people go, damn, this is where I want to be, this is how I want to play. It's a tall task, and I feel for everyone that has to make the layouts, that has to do that, because it's tough, man.
Yeah, it definitely helps with our Texas and Florida having Thomas's input, because the guy, listen, like, Thomas is a great paintball player, he's an even better human being, but when it comes to, I don't know if many other Snake One attackers like Thomas, when it's all said and done for Thomas, will be known as a silverback gorilla running down the snake. You know what I mean? Like, the dude, that's who he is, right? But for him to have, the brain power to really put together some really fun layouts, it's been cool to see, you know what I mean? Because we'll bounce things off of each other, have an idea and just start working it through. We don't really make the layouts until the week of the event, because people will say, well, I heard somebody had the layout, and I just laugh, because you're like,
yeah, there's no way.
Wasn't even built.
Yeah. So if somebody had it leaked out, especially like this one, it's going to be pretty obvious, because there's chaos about Erwer, what I mean? So
yeah, it's all propaganda. Come on.
Yeah. I want to give Thomas a lot of credit, actually, because, he's been a snake attacker his whole life. And I think snake attackers kind of sometimes get a bad rap for maybe not being the smartest player on the team, air quotes. They're usually the most athletic and have a really, really difficult job. But Thomas is has one of the highest IQs in the game. And I've learned that from coaching with and against him, when he's come out to the BKI stuff and then being in the pit with him at the WCs. I love the way he coaches and the way he approaches the game, and how well he can like really describe, the entire situation and prepare his players. That shows, an immense amount of experience. And I mean, obviously, again, he's been in the game for so long, but I'm not surprised at his ability to, create really fun layouts and be able to do that,
I mean, I'll tell anybody out there, like, and again, 100% with what Marcelo said, most Snake One attackers are not known for being the most cerebral players, right? They're super athletic, super aggressive, usually alpha style males that just get down the stake and handle business. But with Thomas, like, I mean, even last year where they won the D3 championship, his iconic kids, right? Like, against Rainey's guys, I mean, it was a gritty match, and you're kind of sitting there on the sidelines watching it like, man, this could really go any way. Thomas's guys pull it out, you know what I mean? And you realize, like you said, Thomas has done a really good job preparing these young kids, because it's a little different dealing with guys coming up through the ranks, like you guys both know, and then coaching a team of 10 to like Damage, right? Or Impact. There's nobody soft on those rosters, right? Like, it's probably the closest we have to like an NFL situation where like guys really show up to work, ready to work from all different angles of life, So Thomas has been a huge help. And there's times we'll have ideas that we're bouncing off of each other, and maybe some of those rough drafts go, I mean, we probably have 100 rough drafts between us on layouts, and then you don't use a concept, but now you have the idea in your mind, and it's played out well for us. I mean, knock on wood, right? Like, the last couple of years, I don't think we've had any layouts where you're like, yeah, that one just kind of sucked. You know what I mean? Like,
no, not at all. I haven't seen it. Yeah, 100%.
And even watching guys, right? It was cool to have, Keith and some of your guys were out there 2 weeks ago at my event, and they're all part of the culture out there, right? Taking part, but they're like, man, I'd love to play this. And you're like, I would love to see some pro guys play this. You play a little bit different, but there was, all three facets of that field you could get through.
Yeah,
I love what Thomas has built, man. And him and his family are working so hard in the industry in the Northwest. I know he's working with Defy now.
Yep.
So if you're in the Northwest, he's taking care of that area. And just seeing the amount of love he put into the game with his family, and they've all been a part of the journey the whole entire time. It's really cool to see that development. But Mike, I want to kind of switch gears here. You're the owner and coach of the new pro team, LA Collision, stepping into the highest level of paintball in the world. You obviously have the pedigree, one of the best pro players. You've cultivated some of the best talent in the world. And I kind of want to start picking your brain on this upcoming season and how y'all have been preparing and what that's looking like.
I mean, we play a lot of paintball, right? I think, going in as a first-year pro team, you try to be as humble as possible, right? Like, that's the key word for me with my camp is humble, right? Like, the PPF or whatever put a thing out that we should, the collision write-up came out last night. We're expected to be 8th to 12th or 9th to 12th, something like that. You know what I mean? And all of our guys in the chat, the second it came out, highlighted it, dumped it into the chat. And it's like, even the young kids, Middleton, guys like that are like, this really doesn't mean shit yet, right? Like, we have to, like, somebody can say you're going to be same for you guys, right? You guys both should win the first tournament. But we both know if you go in with that mindset of arrogance, it never plays out well. So for us, we're just in a completely different place than, guys like, the top teams in paintball are at, right? I think when you're a first-year team coming in, it's building the culture, building the foundation, and really short-term, long-term goals. You want to win games, you want to win matches. If you get to go up against guys like you, of course you want to try to win those games. Like, whether you can or not is another story. But I think for us, is this understanding this path that we're on and expecting a first-year pro team to be a playoff team or to be a deep Sunday team. I just don't know if that's realistic. You know what I mean? So for us, it's building culture, getting looks. A tough part for us out in California, like you guys know, is there's not a lot of pro teams out here, right? Like, technically Impact's up at Capitol Edge, but you guys really aren't there for layout weekends, right? You're usually Texas or somewhere else, right? And then what is it? Us, Aftermath, Uprising is up there, but they don't like to really on layout weekends. They don't like to leave their thing. We also have
Dynasty,
right. Totally, but they're another one that doesn't really play a ton out here, right?
Right.
Like, they're X Factor or wherever it is for layout. So for us, it's just a lot of inner squad working on drills. Dan Lee is back with us helping, and like if I'm gone on weekends, Dan's there running drills with the guys. We play every weekend, right? So
good.
I think, we've talked about it before. It's this new wave coming in of, if you can get a player like either one of you two, of course, every team's happy to do that. But there's only so many elite athletes in our sport, right? And most of you guys are already franchise guys on other teams. So now it's, as a younger team, do you go pick up, a mid-level established pro? No stones being thrown. Or do you take the young kid that's just happy, like, Middleton? We have multiple NorCal guys that are happy to drive here every weekend, get free cases of paint, play paintball with their friends all weekend, drive 500 miles home. I think a lot of teams are starting, especially mid-level, low-level, which is okay to say that's where we're at coming in, are happy looking at those pro players, right? As opposed to guys that are throwing out, I want 30,000 for the year. And you're just like, man, God bless you. I hope you get that. But that's not a reality anymore, right? We have less money guys in the industry, right? And I'm saying we don't have any, you guys both have them, but there's not a ton more coming down the pipeline. So I think, we're on Collision, we're definitely focused on more of a grassroots, younger players that just want to play ball, and hopefully that gives an advantage, right? Being able to play a lot of paintball together.
Yeah. Yeah. Building that chemistry and being able to play a lot together is obviously one of the most important things. I do think if you're a team that doesn't have someone that understands the game at the highest level, then it becomes that much more imperative to bring someone in that does. But obviously with Collision, I still think back, Mike, I was thinking about this the other night, to our early Aftermath days in Division 3. I was 14 years old, but the key principle that you taught us, which was basically work outside in, and like the biggest advantage you could have is being wide and the other team not. To me, that is still the most important foundation of winning every single point. If it's a 3-on-5, a 4-on-5, if we can be wide and they're not, like, that is our best chance of winning. And really understanding that, you see people mess that up over and over and over again by looking inside and giving up an advantage. And they don't even realize why they lost the point. They're like, oh, I missed that shot cross field. No, that's not why you lost. You lost because you let the two on this side fill out to the corner. which if you would have just continued to stay disciplined and work on that too, then you would have went, we go through the checklist, A, B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, from left to right or right to left, depending on whatever side you play on. And that principle is still, I mean, I say it over and over. I think that is probably the most important principle to winning. So your players are going to understand that, but there's a lot of teams that don't understand these things. And so I think it becomes more important for them to find a way to get that information, then it becomes more valuable. But otherwise, yeah, like having players like Evan Middleton that are willing to play every single weekend as much as possible. And, the rest of your guys that can do that together, that absolutely is a blueprint.
Yeah. And we have a whole second premier line of guys basically in the wings looking to take spots on that pro team at some point. Yeah. So for us, like we definitely feel out here, we won the 2026 draft class, right? Like in Southern California, we definitely hoarded a lot of the talent. I'm not saying all of it. There's always other talent out there. But some of the kids, what's his name? We have a lot of the young guys that came like through Rainey's camp, a couple of the Sicario guys, that team had said they were breaking up. We really didn't want to touch any of those guys because the Sicarios were such a good group of young kids. But then there was some, they weren't sure if they were going to have a team funding. And some of them came over like Lucas Tamura that played D2 with the newbies guys. I think he won in Texas. Like we definitely have Brian, young man named Brian from up in Northern California. Lance from New York moved out. Like we brought in a decent amount of young players. So even on weekends we don't have anybody, we can just play ourselves and we're still 15 deep out there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But Mike, I think the intel's out there for all those teams. I just, there's
it is more than it was.
Like arrogance, you know what I mean? At some point, if you don't know, that's okay. Like just even as a coach, right? There's times that you're on a layout where you're just not 100% sure, but if you just 2 ears, 1 mouth, listen twice as much as you talk, and listen and watch what's happening. Even if you don't understand it, go watch the Russians, go watch Fit, go watch Dynasty, Damage, Impact, all of these teams. You can pick up a lot really quick. And like you're saying, Marcelo, yeah, I think there's a lot of breakouts that I see. I just call it quality control, where you see points at the pro level sometimes where you're like, man, 2 dudes up the center, huh? Because by simple math, if there's 2 in the, we call it the gaps, right? The 1 gap's snake wire, 5 gaps, the Dorito wire, dead center's 3, and then obviously 2 and 4 in set of that. When you got 2 guys in the 3 gap, you can only have 1 on the 5 or the 1, right? Like simple math, right? And sometimes you just wonder, like, and you never try to be rude to other coaches or teams or organizations, but you gotta ask me, like, what were you thinking on that? And it was like, well, we were just in same thing Marcelo said. Yeah, you didn't get a 2-man op out like that snake side at the USXBL layout. If you had a corner and a guy in the snake, you could do some work. You know what I mean? Maybe 1 guy in that center brick locking off, and then 2 out to the 5 gap and work down the field. You know what I mean?
Always trying to win one of the tapes. Yeah.
What's that?
Just always trying to win one of the tapes. Like try to give yourself an advantage on a side. That doesn't mean you can't win through the middle. That's not what we're saying here. Obviously that happens too, but just like the basic principle is winning on the outside. That's the easiest way to win the game, is have a good angle on your opponent.
Absolutely.
Mike, this kind of ties into Third Eye PB from the Discord wants to know, he says, how do you motivate a teammate who tends to get timid when playing against another team who is perceived to be better than you are?
I mean, either you step up or your replacement's coming in. I mean, it's paintball, man. Like at the end of the day, it's paintball. Like this is a sport. Anybody, and the cool thing about paintball, in my opinion, is that Marcelo and Tyler are better players than I ever was. But on any given Sunday, I could get lucky and put a ball in the air, and you guys could look into it, or Ryan or Oliver, right? The biggest names in the sport. Because there's a lot of people that are happy just to shoot you one time. And I think that a lot of these guys, like you're talking about to the gentleman from the Discord, like you're intimidated by other players. I mean, if you're intimidated by me or by Tyler or by whoever, right? You've already lost. You have to understand that while this great white shark is bearing down on you, if you punch him hard enough in the snout, they say, you can turn him around, right? And you have to have that mindset that when you're going up against better players, and show them their respect, like the young guys, especially SC Villagers, from top to bottom, there's a lot of respect from our D5 guys that we let play on our field all the way up to our technically pro level guys. We don't get into the politics of it. So just, go have fun with it, man. You're getting a chance. If I played golf, I'd love to go shoot 18 with Tiger, right? Because I probably
Oh,
wouldn't.
yeah.
I'd just be watching that dude like just
100%.
like right. And
Yeah.
if you have that ability to play against it, like for us, we got to play Fit, Uprising, all the teams, Ironmen, Shock, all the teams in our bracket. I'm happy to play all those guys, right? Like, and again, we're competitors. We're not best friends on the field. That's part of the business that we're in. But it's just understanding that we're still in for us, we're in a learning position. And for the player that you're talking about, you're in a learning position. Learn from it. Even if you lose, you don't lose if you learn. But if you go out there with the mindset like, damn, these dudes are always going to dunk on me. I mean, for me, I came up through the ranks, then finally got the invite into that pro division. And I realized I was just as good a player back then as I was wearing a pro jersey. It just came down to applying it against the greatest in the world. And some people absolutely look forward to that. And I think there's some younger players that get intimidated by that. And that's probably something you got to get over, is you got to look forward to those challenges. It's a blessing to get to play against the greatest in the world and get to play at that level, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you got to find it between the ears. I love that advice so much. And if you're wondering how you can join the Discord, it's all powered through our Patreon. And thank you to everybody who's in there showing love and being a part of the community. We really appreciate it. We got quite a few questions in there. But Mike, I do want to talk to you about like how you balance everything too, man, because you have so many hats that you put on and you are proficient at all of it. How do you manage taking on all of these tasks?
I mean, it starts with the fact that my wife is with me with everything I do, right? Like, think about it. Try to talk everybody out there, significant other, into driving a Dodge Ram 3500 dually with a 36-foot trailer hanging off the bumper with, 20, right at about 26,000 pounds going down the freeway and driving 18 hours a day in a separate car, right? Like, that helps right there. Like, without that, none of this happens, right? Like,
can I just say one thing? Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for the tremendous support with the PTG show. If you are enjoying these episodes and want to help with the progress and development of this program and connect with like-minded, hungry paintball players, then head on over to ptgpodcast.com, click the orange Patreon link, and become a member of the PTG World Discord chat room. And now back to the show. Tracy is the OG of all OGs. She is the absolute best. She
is definitely the hardest working. I'm like no stones at anybody else, but there is no other person in paintball and no other woman that's out working her.
Yeah.
Like she is right there with our crew. I cannot say enough. So the fact that home comes with me helps, right? Like
For sure.
our daughter can go with us. Our daughter's driven from here to Dallas and Dallas to World Cup, which is literally California to Florida for a 4-year-old, never a tear. We get to go see the world together. I think if you look at it through those lenses, our life is pretty sweet, right?
Yeah,
like,
it is, man.
We don't make a ton of money doing this. It's not like money is not the determining factor here. For us, it's, you start growing this thing, we move into Texas, and there's a financial part of the industry like sponsorship. There's so many regional leagues out there. But, Eclipse, any of the big companies, HK, why would they sponsor? Because, again, it's not that they don't want to sponsor, but how many regional leagues do you sponsor as HK? And then what do you pay? Like, they can't afford to give cash to 17 regional leagues across America. So for us, the expansion, a big part of that was being able to then sell to our sponsors, right? That if you mess with us, you're from coast to coast, right? Like we're across. I mean, I think after our first event, all 3 leagues, we'll be at over 300 unique teams that have played across our platform, right? Which is a pretty big number. And really, it's not a competition number. It's, okay, if we have these 3 leagues and we can build these up, we were at 280 last year. Can we get to, we want to see growth, right? We all want to see growth in the sport. And then a lot of our teams that graduate out of our leagues end up at the NXL, and that's totally acceptable to us, right? Like we want that to happen. When a team wins in one season, like Marcelo's guys, the Vegas guys, they had a season where they beat everybody up. Unfortunately, they didn't come back the next year. But when that same team that's been beating everybody up is gone the next season, it gives people hope for growth. Like maybe it's my year, right? Same thing we're seeing in semi-pro right now at the NXL. Now that a bunch of us are gone, it should open the door for 1 or 2 teams that I think are going to win that thing. But there's a belief that, it's our year now, if that makes sense. So
no, for sure. Yeah. It's kind of like a power vacuum,
Totally. And we
similar thing.
paintball, right? We need organizations to like make money here, go spend it there. At the NXL, we're totally good with that. But yeah, man, I mean, for us, our family, luckily our older sons, like, you know, Bryce and Colin are old enough that we have 4 older boys in our house that are living their own lives. So when we're out of town, you know, life goes on.
It's so crazy that
house anymore. So
yeah,
the kids hold it down and we get to live our lives. You know, we got event 3 and 4 at the back half of the season are all back to back weekends. We'll start in Florida, weekend 2 Dallas, weekend 3 California. Those will be pretty rough 3-week stretch, I think, but kind of how we have to do it, right? Like if we're gonna do it, you got to go all in with it. So that's kind of how we do it, man. Like luckily, and when we're not here, the boys are running SC Village. Like you're only as strong as your weakest link. And our family you know, we have a lot of soldiers on this side of the fence that are willing to handle business.
Yeah,
absolutely.
man.
I mean, I don't know any other way to say it. Like,
yeah.
Hey guys, we're taking off for 3 weeks. This is what's got to happen. And you know, yes, sir. Cool.
Job get done.
It's
Love
the team.
Guys.
Yeah.
And, you know, so that's how we do it. I mean, it's really not that bad. Is it a lot? Yeah. Having to get home in 2 days and a couple hours to make your daughter's birthday dinner is definitely a run. You know what I mean? But beyond that, it's just working, right? And if you do, like for you guys doing the show, is it work? Yeah. Is playing paintball work? Yeah. But if it's something you truly love, like we all do, it's not really ever a day of work, right? It's just a process that's got to be done. And there's some long days and some short days, and some days it rains and some days it's hot. Running paintball tournaments, right? Like
that's it.
But it's a pretty cool thing. Like, you know, last weekend we saw Marky Ireland's son get to play D6 3, and you know,
let's go, Caleb.
Kid's like barely 10, right? I think that's the age you have to be. So we'll say he's 10, but he's 10. He's 10-ish, right? But
10-ish.
Just getting to see, you know, like for all of us, you know, like Tyler, someday, and Marcelo, someday you could have kids and they could be playing in the league. And I think where we all started together, someday this could actually happen. It just was never a reality for us, right? So now that where we're at, it's a pretty cool thing to see. Like, I enjoy being at the NXL. I enjoy seeing all my pro friends there, right? And it's not about pro. It's just we've all been friends and we've done wild stuff together, right? Like, that's where the smiles come from. But for me, it's equally as cool to be at the regional level, watching new teams that are really, you know, you talk to people. I've been playing for 8 months and I'm playing tournament paintball. You just seeing those smiles is pretty cool, right?
That's what it's all about, man.
Absolutely, Mike. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Shout out to Caleb as well out there. I saw the video of him running around,
dude.
It was like, oh my God, we need more. We need more of the youngsters taking the field. And you know, he pulled out the pod, loaded it like a little pro, kept it moving, holding down the lanes. I was like, yeah, buddy.
Well, the best part is, like, before that, he's, you know, I'm sitting in registration with Tracy. We have a random tent, 20-footer set between the two fields. And, you know, we don't have a lot of stuff, but he walks up and he's like, excuse me, do you have a Sharpie pen? And Tracy's got her Milwaukee pack outs lined out like she's a construction worker, opens it up, pulls out a Sharpie. Thank you, ma'am. Runs over. He's like scouting on his, because we also have a laminator. So he's got a laminated layout that he's, you know, drawing it out. And he brings the pen back. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. Like Marky's mom walked up and was like, hey, I'm Mark's mom, you know, but that's my grandson's out here playing.
Yeah.
Just a cool moment to get to see. So for me, because you're like, you know, our staff, like Brian Polito will say, like, man, we should have a big open event someday, give away a ton of money, bring all the pros in. And I'm like, yeah, that would be really cool. But we have to never forget our focus, which is the beginner players and the newer teams coming in. And, you know, not trying to step on the NXL's toes. Because inevitably, when you do something big and they do something big, you naturally get compared to one another.
Sure.
But like for us, I really don't think, you know, we've all talked one-on-one, face-to-face about these things. I don't ever want to be that, right? This is my place, you know? And like Tim Montresor, one of the last things we ever talked about before he passed, he's like, you know, a lot of these companies try to do too much. You know, you're a gun company. Now you get into all these other things and it just kind of drags. You're the jack of all trades, master of none. For us, like, this is what we do. We run very good regional leagues, you know, could always be better. We're always working to make it better, but that's our focus, is making, if that step, that mid-level step and beginner step can be a little smoother, hopefully we keep these people in and we can see our numbers grow and we can see Tom's numbers grow. And I really you know, like for us, our big one every year is like, hey, Tom, give me those dates. You know, multiple weeks before Cup, we have the dates. We're working on our dates because we truly try not to conflict on anything, right? Like try to stay away from each other and really all work together as much as possible. Because unfortunately out there, like other parts of our industry seems to just get in its own way a lot.
Yeah, and that really is the most important thing, Mike. We got to really focus on growing the pie. That way, all the slices get bigger. We just keep growing this pie, growing the game, showing people, you know, this amazing sport that is truly life-changing in so many fronts, as we all know as well. And yeah, just keep growing the pie and making paintball just a fun place to be. People should be eager to get to the paintball field on the weekends because they know the paintball culture is amazing. We're going to have a bunch of great times, smiles, and you kind of get to leave the madness of, you know, regular life behind for a little bit and head into the field and have some fun.
Absolutely. And we're seeing, I think we've touched this on other shows that we've done together. Like you're seeing more families out there, right? Like really, you know, when you guys were kids, you'd see a random wife or two walking around, right? But it wasn't like the whole family atmosphere. Now, you know, I have video clips of guys playing paintball at SE Village with my daughter and 5 other daughters of players running around behind the nets, you know, off the field, just truly having fun out there. You know what I mean?
Love it.
I know I can say this for
Absolutely.
me. My daughter looks forward to Saturdays and Sundays at SE Village.
Yeah.
Like she
I love
cannot
that.
wait to see all of her friends.
Oh man, that is amazing. Paintball has always been that game that really does bring entire families together. You know, I remember meeting Jonah's family out in Wisconsin doing a clinic when Jonah was just like, you know, Jonah from Infamous, Jamrose, you know, he was maybe 13 years old, maybe even younger, but the whole family was there, you know, and it's like, you see that stuff at all parks, you know, at all events in a way that you don't really in other sports. And they were all playing as well, you know, as brothers, you know, you'll see brother, sister, mother, and father, and they're all playing the same game together, which is really unique. You know, there's not many sports that you can do that. Mike, another question.
Shielda, that does the podcast, right? Sent me a picture from the Mohegan Sun at the ESPN event that we filmed up there with Dynasty a bazillion years ago. And he was like a high school photographer and he had gotten into paintball. And he's like, that was me at that event. That was the first place I met you. And, you know, truthfully, I don't remember meeting him, right? But clearly he was there. So another interesting one with paintball is, you know, you never know. Everybody starts at the bottom. But the longer you stick with it, you work up through the ranks. And, you know, it's a big part of I enjoy it, right? I enjoy seeing, you know, like back at SC Village, like Wedo comes out and plays, you know, like that dude's been around 40 years playing paintball. It's cool to see.
SoCal legend.
Right? Like the old legends randomly cycle through, right? Where you look over and you're like, oh, hey, Wedo's back. It's every year or two he shows up, plays some paintball. It's good to see him. You know that everything's right in the universe. And
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, he's goated. He is goated for life. Hey, let's hop into some like rapid fire questions for you, Mike. The 5 pods for the pro players in the upcoming season. What do you think it's going to do out there in the gameplay?
I think it's going to change how some players play the game, right? You're at 5 pods. You're going to have to get into more mid-game situational stuff quicker. Could that affect players that are more unique players? And what I mean by that is bigger guys or individuals, you know, like that. I'd never want to call out names because then it turns into a weird energy, right? But like there's bigger guys that play. There's, you know, individual unique players that play that have their own style and are a little more counterpunch, right? With only 5 pods, I could see possibly less variety of our pro players long term because it could cause games to get into way faster slugfest, right? We're not like in an MMA fight, the first round, we're not just standing back, throwing a couple punches, staying out of the danger zone. We're going to have to get into that danger zone a lot quicker. And possibly some players, you know, we talked about it before we went live. There's some teams that have front guys that carry 10 pods. They're not going to be able to do that anymore. Are they still going to be as good? Well, we're about to find out, right? We're a couple weeks away from Tampa and the big lights in the stadium. So I think it could take away some of the individual talents that some people have not being able to play with 10 or 12 pods on their back, possibly. But the other side of that is going to be the layout that Trozen makes for us. If he can make Kind of like we talked about actually before we got on the show, like the NXL Europe layout, I thought last year were fun layouts to play, right? They were, even as a coach, you're like, how do I stop this field? How do you, like Joey would say, how do you take them to the deep water? Some of those layouts, you just couldn't do that, right? Which is good. If we have layouts like that, it should be fun. If we get slower, it could be tough, right? So we will see, but I'm cautiously optimistic about it.
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out here. And they also have the points scored versus margin, which is a new adaptation to the rules as well, which incentivizes, obviously, you need to score more points as opposed to having that close margin.
Absolutely. And, you know, that one, Trozen had been very, I think, open and with the owners, right? We had gotten multiple emails about ideas he was doing. And I think Trozen definitely sent some of it by us because, you know, we run regional leagues and we see the other side of it sometimes. And I think I know one thing, everything that they're doing, I truly 100% believe is for the betterment of our sport. It's just very difficult, I think, for the NXL when you are the tip of the spear, right? You make a decision, you make a rule change, whatever it is, and then, you know.
Well, once again, this is just for the pro division only in the NXL. Divisional obviously stays the same, but the pros, we're definitely trying to, make it a
but we also know what happens in the pro division at some point will trickle down through the divisional if the tiebreakers that he's talking about work as planned.
Intended,
within a year, I think it'll be moved all the way through, right? Because it sucks when you get to a fourth game in the afternoon, and you know we watched it happen against us with Impact and X Factor when I was with Diesel. It was a 1-0 game. They knew if that was all that was scored, both teams went in. I'm not saying there was a setup. It just is the math that it was. Trying to remove those situations from happening, right, I think is in the betterment of the sport. So
absolutely.
Should be
all right, Dilly Kills wants to know. Sorry, Ty, do you have something to
I was just saying, I sat at the wall for 15 minutes in that game. I was like, is anybody going to move or what do we got going on here?
You just don't lose, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
All right. Dilly Kills wants to know, Mike, what are the top 3 qualities you look for in a player?
Grit.
Bango, bongo.
Well, I mean, like, let's go through it, right?
You can work with just about everything else.
I called you out of the blue when you were a kid. Why? Because your dad worked at Velocity. You were at the field every weekend, right? Playing paintball. Like, all you wanted to do was play paintball, right? When you find people that don't have it, like, they make excuses why they can be at the field, not why they can't be at the field. I believe you can do something with that, right? Like, multiple aftermath level guys got picked up because they would go help in the morning blow up bunkers, right? We picked up Tristan back in the day because he tried to square up on Mini Mike, which would have been catastrophic for his health. But you know what I mean? At least the kid had heart and was willing to stand 10 toes down for what he believed in. So for me, it just comes down to grit. I believe you can teach the rest of it. A lot of that probably comes back to everybody's, like, how you were all raised by your parents. They taught you that grit. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, every family's different, but you can do something with a man or a woman or any human being that has belief and grit and is willing to put the extra work in. But the guy that shows up an hour late is an hour early to leave. Like, to me, cool, go ahead and leave. Bye. You know what I mean? There's other kids that are there. I'm out 8-10 walking onto the field, you know, these days, and Middleton's out there running laps, shooting his gun at targets around the field, and you're like, what the fuck drill is that, kid? But cool, you know what I mean? Like,
he's the best, dude.
And then runs up and gives a hug, you know what I mean? Like,
I love that kid so much. And
I just think grit, you know, and I'm sure every divisional team out there, you've got teammates on your team that, you know, like, that dude's at the field before me every day and is still on the field when I'm ready to go home, and we're just worn out from a long 50-point practice. There's those psychopaths on your team that just want to keep going. I can make something out of that, I believe. So that's
Mike, that actually ties back into that third IPB question, and I agree, where he said, you know, how do you motivate a teammate who tends to get timid when playing against other teams who are perceived to be better than you are? And really, I was like, you kind of don't have those players on your team to begin with. You know, it's kind of a mentality, a gritty mentality. Like, you don't have to, you know, when you're building a winning organization, that is one of the things I look for. I want a player that's willing to, like you said, go 10 toes down, you know, and believe in himself and believe in his teammates. That's a very important part of it. The confidence, you know, that someone you can't really coach that. You shouldn't have to coach that. You know, that should hopefully already be there. That's kind of, that gets your foot in the door, you know, and then you can work with the rest.
Our D4 collision guys, again, we really don't coach them a ton because we're busy doing our NXL level stuff. But we have so many collision lines at SC, they're on all the other fields. But last year when we started it, one of the guys, Ted, good dude, I was like, I got him aside and I was like, the big speech, all the rah, rah, rah stuff. I said, just remember all these faces. Let's see who's here at the end of the season. So we get to event 4 championship and they're all standing there and Ted's the only one left.
No doubt.
That's
Right.
great.
And Marcelo, you've been through it, Tyler. Like the blueprint always works itself out, right? Because some people truly are timid and afraid of hard work. Yep. And you could be the greatest player. And that's a tough part for coaches, right? You guys both coach divisional teams. You see a young guy that has a ton of talent, but he just doesn't put the effort in. And they can only ever get so good if you're not willing to humble yourself. Like Marcelo, you're at the field how many times a week on average? 2, 3, whatever it is. If you're a young player and this dude's at the field 2 to 3 times a week and in the gym 5 or 6 days a week, and you're not beating that, like what level of fucking delusion do you have in your head that this thing, Tyler's over there, in the gym 5-6 days a week. I can just show up one day, eat carne asada burritos the rest of the time, and somehow I'm going to be better than him. You just think it's your lucky Sunday? Because lucky Sundays, you cannot string them together. Everybody, broken clocks right twice a day, but you can't win 5 times a year unless you're putting the effort in. So for all these young guys, look at them and show respect. You know what I mean? Hey, man, Keith's good. Mouse is good. Tyler, Dalton, whoever, right? Like, there's so many great players. But respect them and what they've done, but don't try to be the next Tyler or Marcelo. Try to be the next you that you can be, learning from those OGs, but also elevating that, right? And that's something I don't think we see a lot of in the sport right now with these younger semi-pro teams coming up. There's not a lot of those kids that are really trying to be better than all of you, right? Like, just my opinion. Like, there's
a few. Yeah.
No, there's, like Hosky came along. Like, there's definitely guys that have done it.
I feel like that's kind of across sports as a whole. I mean, paintball is truly my center of gravity. If I'm not at the field, I am doing something to make myself better at the game of paintball. I'm constantly thinking about paintball, whether it's watching film, like you said, in the gym, if you're actually at the field doing drills or practicing with your team. Paintball is truly my center of gravity, and it's everyone sitting here. It's all of our center of gravity. And it's why the 3 of us are where we are. But I don't know that it's like that for a lot of the new players. But Tyler is right. There is a good amount. You have one of them, Mike, and Evan Middleton. It absolutely is his center of gravity. That kid has a ton of potential because of that. But that's always the standout feature, is someone who's willing to dedicate most of their life to the thing. They're going to get really damn good at the thing.
But that's the thing, though. Every single person out there that is listening to this, you absolutely, not 99%, 100% can be a legend in this game. It just comes down to your dedication. It's like, when we have these conversations, Marcelo and I do, Mouse and I do, for me, these dudes were always going to be legends because it was the mindset they had, whether it was on Aftermath or whatever teams they went to. Like, these dudes were always going to be big redwood trees in the forest. Like, they just had to grow into it. You know what I mean? And they believed in themselves. Anybody out there that truly says, like, just don't take no for an answer, right? Like, you work through the problems, work through the roughness. It could take 10,000 hours for you to get there. But I guarantee you, especially with the data that's at everybody's disposal now, right? YouTube, all this, like, you guys, like, we didn't have that data back then. We had to go to Bob's house and get our ass whooped, right? Playing paintball against a pro team or whoever it was back home, Iron Men or whoever, Dynasty. We had to go do that. It's all at your guys' disposal. I just give the young players 2 ears and 1 mouth. Don't talk. Just listen. Absorb. Right? If you're down in Florida, go stand there behind that net and listen to damage play. Even if you don't understand why, or you're at Capital Edge, like, even if you don't understand why, just listen. It'll start to make sense.
Grit.
Man.
I love that. Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
I love that, Mike.
Well, Hinge, we do have Patty here in the background waiting. He's going to be debuting some awesome stuff at the first WC. But as always, man, thank you for joining us. And
much love, man.
Thanks for having me on, boys. I appreciate anybody out there. appreciate all the support, you know what I mean, and look forward to our next. I feel like I'm the third member of the band here, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Let's go, Mike.
I'm starting to get the most PTG appearances, so
I think you might have it.
You and Tom Cole, actually, which, you know,
Yeah.
that's actually really awesome because, you know, I think that's really good for the customers too, you know, and for the
Absolutely.
people that support the leagues is to have such direct access to you guys, which is
absolutely. I think they
imperative.
should understand the soul that's behind the voice of everybody
Yeah.
talking and the vision that we all have, right? Like,
Yeah.
and, you know, like with Tom, we completely support everything he's done. Clearly we do. We just got a pro spot. We're all in with what they're doing on that side. You know, it doesn't always have to be one side versus the other. Like,
Agreed.
you,
Yep.
you don't have to do addition by subtraction. Just support everybody and find people that are trying to do the right thing for this industry.
Yeah, man.
One
Well,
last
thank you.
question from Rounder, and then we're letting you go. Is the snake hot?
Always hot. Wait,
Always hot.
hey,
Just
Jordan,
wait. Yeah.
That was Jordan, by the way. And
Yeah.
Yes.
remember that one after this coming weekend when you see this monstrosity of a snake that we're about to drop.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's
And you get
good.
clapped
Yeah.
up about 15 times from it.
Yeah. Oh man, Hinge, we love you, brother. Thank you.
yeah,
And we'll see
baby.
you soon.
Thanks for
Love you,
having
bro.
me on.
Always.
Of course.
Hear what Patty has to say.
Yeah, man.
Let's go.
We'll
We're
see you
gonna bring him
soon.
in right now. You
Later,
can
brother.
say hi to him. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big dog.
Mikey,
How we
Yo.
doing?
excited to see you, brother.
Good to see. I'll be excited to see. I got to go pick his bunkers up. They're at Hollywood Sports right now, where they were shipped in, and we got to start putting them OTL
Attaboy.
bunkers in the ground.
Working hard.
Ooh,
Nice,
I'm
let's
excited,
go.
dude. I'm excited.
Yeah,
We're excited.
dropping-
to have Patty and his
dropping
brand
gems.
WC sponsored a set of bunkers. We're gonna have one of his
Nice.
events this year, and he's gonna be out there. Anything we can do, Patty's the man.
Yeah, baby. Yep. Team ball all the way around. Mike, we
That was
salute
awesome.
you. Thank you
Later,
very
boys.
much for
Have a good
everything.
one.
All right,
Later,
baby.
Hinge.
See you
Y'all
soon.
soon.
Peace.
See you, Mikey.
Yo, Patty. What's good, bro?
What's up,
How you
boys?
doing?
Good morning. Good morning.
Big dog. Good
Good
morning.
morning.
How we doing? That was a great conversation, huh?
Yeah,
It
Mike.
was, man. Yeah, Mike's
always
keeping
legend.
it 100 on here.
Dropping gems.
Oh, nonstop.
How you
Nonstop.
guys,
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Doing good. Yeah, just working hard. We both just got back from practice. Probably both a little bit sore, you know, running around all weekend, having fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for
nice.
sure. Man, I like feel surprisingly good. I'm not gonna lie. We played
Well,
so
when
many
you play
points too, and
the starfish the whole time.
yeah, I mean, that was in the snake. That was in the snake. I was in the snake a lot. I was in the Doritos a lot. I was running around. I'm like, man, I actually lost quite a bit of weight. I was 194 going into World Cup, and I'm 175 right now. And I think it made a huge difference. You know, I
Damn.
definitely I lost muscle. I intentionally lost muscle in the off season. I kind of ate at a calorie deficit, tried to keep my protein, and have been working out a bunch. But I was like, like especially for my knee, I've had a couple pretty big knee surgeries, so I just wanted to relieve some pressure from there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel really good bouncing around.
there we
You
go.
know,
Nice.
yeah.
Must be
like I
that.
said, we-
Must be that beta version, huh?
Yeah, you got the new
yeah,
OTL. type
exactly.
stuff.
We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. There's been some great
Um,
peptides too. I'm not gonna lie. I've been, I was really, really hesitant on the peptides for a long time, probably a year where I was like,
True.
I'm not really sure about these things. And the more research that I did, and then started to actually experiment and use them,
Mhm.
seen some great benefits. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, all good things, man. I'm excited for this season. Also
That's
excited
good.
for your training program. That's what we're here for. This app that you've released. Well, it hasn't been released yet. It's only in beta
Not yet.
testing, but it is awesome for the average paintball player. So let's talk about that.
Dope. Hell yeah. So hopefully, the projection is that we drop it at WC on Friday. So the goal this week is to just tie everything together and have it launch on Friday for the opening of this WC. So
What is it?
obviously
What's
that?
What is it called?
So
what is it?
I'm gonna let the culture decide, but it has a little bit of play on words. So it's either like the OTL Mega app, or you put those two together and it's the Omega. And
Yeah.
then so I have a generator in the app itself, and so that is definitely called, like, it's powered by Omega. So I think the generator itself is going to be called the Omega, while we've already have a timeline for this thing to unfold. We have many different evolutions of it to really kind of take over, and so that's why it's also called like the OTL Mega app. So
Love that.
we'll just see what everybody starts tagging it, you know what I mean, and starts kind of going with whatever name they want it
Yeah.
to. So let the culture decide.
There we go.
I like
What is
it.
this? what does this mean to you, man? This is your baby. You've been working on this so hard. What type of new innovations are you adding to this to help people? I know, specifically made to help paintball players, but also just anybody who's interested in taking their physicality to the next level, and nutrition, and just making you the best version of yourself. So kind of talk about that.
Yeah, dude, thank you. Everything dude, honestly, I'm all in right now with this. And I've obviously been all in with OTL, but this really is, I feel like the last 5-6 years of me being around with OTL, gathering, all the data, working with pros all the way down, collecting everything I can is getting poured into this app. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think it's like the first paintball training app, and maybe just app kind of that is immersive, like this.
It's definitely the most advanced
Ever.
one. I know Greg Sewers, with Matt
Gotcha.
Nutrition had something going
Okay,
for a little
thank
bit,
you.
but to me, it's the most advanced one. I really enjoyed going through, and the way that you have curated these workouts based on like player position. And, so when I signed up, I put in, my goals and what player I was, whether I'm a snake player, Dorito player, a 1, 2, or a 3, all these different metrics. And then it specially curated like automatically. Is it like some kind of AI thing, I assume?
So yes, it's that's why we say it's powered by AI. It's not AI. So yeah, let me kind of dive a little bit more into it. And thank you for that little introduction. So yeah, this is a completely like paintball specific sports performance, like, and in terms of strength and conditioning, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm really not touching drills and everything like that. This is more that spoke of the wheel that is the physical side of our sport, right? Like we're in the gym training. So this is really going to take the thought process out for people on whether or not they're training properly. Like, hey, I got that. Like, give me the ball with that. I got it. And there's a couple different kind of tiers to this app altogether. What Marcel was talking about is the Omega generator, but there's also my standalone programs as well. The ones that I have tried and true, like put athletes through, and I know that works. So people can go in if they want to do something like that. It's a 4-week training program. They can just add that simply to their calendar and then work through that. Like, and then I will be updating that. If not like monthly, I will be dropping new programs that I personally write within the app itself. And then I also have all of my remote coaching, right? So I'm going to be migrating the application that I use now to deliver all of those to my remote coaching athletes into OTL, which is going to be super nice for me to just have a single hub. And that's going to be that, that side of it has like the interaction with me where we do our Zoom calls, we're discussing training programs. Like that's a little bit more intensive.
Yeah.
But then the one thing that I'm super proud of is this Omega, powered by Omega, which is AI generated, right? That's the direction that we're going. So I really kind of wanted to get creative with this, be innovative. And to be honest, and when it comes to fitness apps in general, this is at the kind of forefront of that too. I don't know very many
real quick,
personal
Patty.
training, like fitness apps that are doing this too.
Yeah.
What's
So
that?
I signed up for the Knees Over Toes app, the Knees Over Toes guy. Are you familiar with him?
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
This was like 3 years ago, maybe. I don't know, maybe longer. Time is obviously goes in a wild way these days. But
it was about that time that his program was really trending. Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, he's got millions of followers. His is incredibly successful. So a lot of money, time, and effort poured into his app. And I think this one is better. I really do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maybe the tech has gotten better. I haven't seen his app in a little while, but as I was like, again, going through everything, the videos, the ease of use, it really is a fluid piece. So really nice job. I think this is great.
That means a lot. That's why I wanted you guys on the beta, because I knew you guys were gonna get like no bullshit. You guys were gonna tell me what's up. You know what I mean? I didn't want people to just be yes people. You know what I mean? I
really only had like one recommendation. I was like, man, this thing is really good. Just for the layman, maybe some of the acronyms, just explain what it is. Maybe have a glossary.
Totally.
But other than that, dude, like I loved it. Again, I'm not the type to really. These last 2 months are the first time that I've ever actually tracked calories. I, for a long time, haven't. Just tried to make sure I get my protein and all that. Especially with workouts, I've always been like, okay, I want to learn a workout and I'll implement that into but I've never been one to like record workouts and do all that. So, not always for everyone, but the amount of workouts that I've already learned from the app that I have been able to incorporate. That's like, I love it. You know, it's
Well,
amazing. There's so much good stuff in there with really great videos.
well, check this out. So it's like going back to the knees over toes. I mean, dude, we're students of our game, right? We talk about this within paintball all the time, but it's like, dude, outside of paintball, I'm also learning, right? And I'm studying, and fitness has always been a huge proponent of my life, studying the craft of coaching, the craft of just sports performance, and I've been blessed to be around many athletes, right? So I've been studying, and to come out with this product has been something that has been on my mind for at least 2 years. But I call them God projects, and it's like I've tried to do it, and I just keep kind of hitting barriers, and this opportunity popped up, and it's just been what, a month and a half that we've been rolling with this, and I swear to God, it's just like pieces are just falling into place, and going back to the app, so with the generation that you were talking about already having like so many of these variations, like how we structured this was I wrote the templates for this AI powered stuff, right? So
Right.
it is still paintball specific, and I just
Right.
kind of, and then I also have 900 videos that I have done over the last 6 years, 900 plus videos, all my content, all OTL content. So we uploaded that into the database, and we just put parameters around it so that the generator will just plug and play what I told it to put. And then you can hit, and so there's a couple different things. One, they run through 4-week blocks. So not only that, it progresses you through 3 complete phases of training. So like the first block, we told it to focus on eccentric training, right? And then that'll naturally progress into isometrics, and then the third phase will be concentric, and then it just rotates that wheel, which is how how many coaches just write their programs anyway for people. And then there's like a 2-day split, 3-day split, 4-day split. And then so you combine that with the 900 exercises, and I was like trying to plug the numbers, and it's literally like millions of variations. Like you can't get enough you can't get enough training programs out of this thing. It's a monster.
Yeah, you couldn't even live enough years to do all of the
You
different
couldn't,
variations.
like this,
Yeah.
which is why I kind of wanted to call it Omega. I was like, this is the
Yeah.
start
Yeah,
and
true.
finish, dude. This is the
I
start
love
and
that.
finish. Like,
And just so everybody knows, the videos are so in depth and just make every workout so much easier because you get to watch it. You see him, he's a pro at what he does. You get to watch a pro do it. You get to see all the little nuanced details. You can run it back, look at how you want to, posture or be in the exercise. So it's very just natural. The way that you're able to pick up new exercises, like Marcelo said, is so natural. It's easy. And he's always there as well to help you if you have any questions. Just an all-around amazing platform.
So that's why I like the app too. So besides the training part of it, like OTL has always tried to been just a place for paintball players, right? We don't have like I'm not trying to say I'm like the only one. There's many places for us to connect as paintball players, right? But I just wanted another avenue for players to get together, have a sense of community, right? And so within these apps, now that I'll have everything kind of under one roof, there's going to be group chats. I wanted to, we're going to implement something like a forum or like a Discord, but within the app so people can talk. There's been many times that just the connections through OTL, people are from the West Coast are getting picked up for teams on the East Coast to play a tournament, vice versa. So I just want it to be a hub for people to have that healthy camaraderie, right? Competition. Like we're gonna have leaderboards. We're gonna have like people that are completing workouts. One addition that I really wanted to mention that you guys I don't think have seen yet. It's in the latest update, but we have integrated Apple Health into the app now.
Oh, that's sweet.
So
dude,
now,
I'm so
dude,
into that right now. I just got the medical grade Whoop.
Talking about tracking your shit.
Yeah.
Like this you can just sync that up to the app, and it will, it'll track your heart rate. It will track just the normal like weight, body fat, lean muscle mass. It'll kick back some colorful graphics for you so you guys can kind of monitor it, across the year. What else did we do? We've done quite a few updates to it. But I think that one was like a real like, damn, dude, this thing is coming
Yeah.
together really nice, you know? And again, in terms of just fitness apps in general, it's a dope app. When it comes to
Yeah.
paintball, dude, I am a
Top tier,
firm
yeah.
believer that this is gonna change, or at least be very influential in our sport. And kind of going with Mike,
Agreed.
what Mike was just talking about this change with the pods and everything like that, and it's gonna speed up the game. Like this is going to be that spoke of the wheel that's also going to give these young players a little bit more guidance and do that extra work that maybe you two didn't have, right, growing up. Like, you know, you
For
got to
sure.
do more than what the current pros are doing. Well, this app itself is going to be one of those tools that these guys can use that's going to be doing a little bit extra.
Damn, nice
Absolutely.
work, man.
Yeah.
Way to go, Patty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
where
Patty,
can-
when can people download this app on their phone and sign up? When are you releasing it? How do they find it? All the good
Yeah.
details.
So I'm working this, like I said, this week. I'm just tying everything together, putting a nice little bow on it. We're working on the back end. I'm putting a landing page up on the website, offtheleashlifestyle.com. That'll have an easy sign up for there. It's going to be available on iOS and Android. And I know the Android guys have been knocking at my door waiting for the beta test to come through. It is coming. We basically wanted to get everything. We were all working on iOS, right? And the communications between two operating systems don't necessarily communicate just congruently like that. So we're like, okay, let's focus on iOS. Let's get this product as close to the launch as possible, and then we'll do it on Android. So we just got cleared by Android, but long story short, it is going to be available on both systems. I'll have it on the website for everybody just to sign up and have that easy click through the website. And then like I said, I plan on launching it on Friday at
Nice.
WC, on the first day of WC. That's
Go.
that's the goal. So, you know, WC is going to be rocking. I've been cooking on all these projects. I got the supplements coming too, right? I've been working with Bunker, get all the Omega branding on the sups, and that's going to be on the app, so people can just one-stop shop, get all their sups on the app itself. Talking about pro peptides, right? Pro peptides is going to be on the app, right? Easy to get consultations through there. So it's just going to be this hub, dude, that is really like
Nice.
super paintball sports performance. You know what I mean? And
Love it.
that's the direction that I've been always pushing the sport. And I feel like this is my answer. This is my my resource for people. So that, yes, this is my baby, but it's also very excited for the future.
Yeah, for the game, man. Nice
Yeah.
work. Absolutely love it. And that would be February 6th on this Friday. He's dropping
March 6th.
March 6th. Yep, March 6th on Friday. He's going to be dropping all this. And what's the website that they can go to? And then just let them know the app name as well, so they can be prepared to download all that.
Right. So it's offtheleashlifestyle.com. There will be a tab on there that just says Omega, right? Like I said, we haven't decided exactly. It can house both names, but we'll just go Omega just for it's easy. And then on the tab for the Omega, it'll just drop into a landing page. Obviously, it'll have some information about the app, but most importantly, right at the top, it's just going to have that button to sign up. Should take you to whatever app store you have for your phone, either it's iOS or Android. And just like any other app, you're just going to sign up through there.
Awesome.
Hell yeah, man. Congratulations, Patty. It's outstanding,
Thank you
dude.
guys. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
And thanks for letting me come on, man.
Of
Of
course,
course.
Always.
I mean, this is something that's pretty exciting for the, paintball players themselves and especially the younger generation to really, start early, get focused on some paintball specific movements and all that. So appreciate your
Right.
dedication to the project, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we'll see you March, are you going Dub C this weekend?
I'm not positive yet. I don't know. I have so much to do this week. And then Mouse and I are also going to practice this weekend. So I'm not sure if I'm going to make it out. If I do, obviously, Patty, I'll stop by and say hi. I do
please.
want to try to get out for one of the days.
Yeah, excited to see the drop.
Yeah,
Can I plug the WC just for a second too?
absolutely. Sure.
Super pumped on this. Mike was saying We're going to be a platinum sponsor this year, so that's huge for myself and just for OTL. We have the bunker set coming, but with that, the tent, I do have, just besides the app, I've got some new merch dropping as well. Calling this drop, you have to live through hell to appreciate heaven. So that's the name of the collection that's coming through. I got a few items that are attached to that. One of them's a Twister and OTL collab. So that's going to be part of it. That's dropping on Friday as well. Some of the people that have been following me have been asking about this new creatine and hydration supplement blend that I'm dropping. That's going to be available at the booth itself. Twister will have some products at the booth as well. So really taking the effort to represent multiple brands here within the OTL tent that are all kind of focused on paintball performance. So come by, you know, it's going to be a party. I'm going to try be there as much as possible, playing on Friday, but definitely there Saturday and Sunday to answer any questions for this app launch, and then also just rocking out with all the new merch and all the new products. So WC, I love WC, so it's going to be a blast.
There we go. Is your wrist okay, Patty?
Mine?
Is it? Yeah, is your wrist all right from whipping it so hard? You know,
Cooking
cooking up.
Yeah,
you okay?
I'm a season vet.
Damn.
At this, dude.
Seasoned chef.
Love that.
Hell yeah,
Just put it in the microwave.
Yeah.
No. Oh, we were doing so good. Stay away from the microwave, everybody. And on that note, Patty, hopefully I'll see you this weekend, brother. But thank you again for what you're providing to the paintball community. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody stop by the booth and say what up to Patty. And yeah, I'm excited to see the new drop as well.
Yep. We'll see everybody.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Much love, Patty. We'll see y'all soon.
Thank you.
Peace, guys.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to the show. We appreciate your support more than you know. As you guys heard about midway through the episode, if you guys would like to support PTG in any way, you could head over to ptgpaintball.com. You could click the orange Patreon link and sign up at any level and get access to our Discord. The Discord is one of the most phenomenal communities in the game of paintball. We have so many different channels in there. It's great for learning. It's great for connecting, finding teams, selling equipment, whatever it is you want to do in there. We truly have it all. And we hope to see you in there. So again, head over to ptgpaintball.com, click the orange Patreon link, and we will see you in there.